Hey guys, welcome to Martin Mattrecker's Tips and Tricks. My name's Martin Mattrecker. I'm not a professional, but I play one on YouTube. This week we're going to talk about remote mounting a television in a motorhome. The motorhome we're working on originally had a TV that was above the driver's seat. The first TV that was in this was a tube type TV. The previous owner removed the TV, actually closed off the compartment using a piece of wood, and then mounted a TV to that piece of wood, an LCD TV with a swivel. It looked horrible, it was clumsy, and the location was horrible for watching TV in the motorhome. It made no sense to me. So I basically relocated this TV over by a window that was across from where you sit on the couch. And you can actually view this at different angles as well, as you're going to find out. I made an enclosure to enclose it to make it look nice. I used a Televator to lift the TV out of that enclosure while we're watching the TV, and then you can lower it back into the enclosure for traveling to protect the TV itself. And it looks nice, so let's get going. For this project, I used a Weaver motorized TV lift, which I call a Televator. It has a stroke length of over 39 inches, which is ideal. With the lift collapsed, the TV will stow completely within the enclosure. I have plenty of travel to extend the TV above the height of the enclosure with a few inches to spare. The TV lift can hold TVs from 32 to 70 inches and has a weight capacity of 154 pounds. The Weaver TV lift is available on Amazon, and the link is provided in the description below. I found it difficult to find a TV lift that was short enough to fit within the enclosure and have enough stroke to completely clear the top of the enclosure. The only drawback to the Weaver TV lift was that the control power input is located on the front of the unit, which requires more depth than the 7 inches needed for the Televator and TV combined. I did make some modifications to keep it at 7 inches, which you will see later. This Televator comes with brackets to attach to the TV itself. However, it is fixed with no swivel capability. I found a different TV mount with swivel, and I use that so I can view the TV at different locations within the motorhome. I provided a link for the recommended TV bracket with swivel in the description below. I had to relocate the wiring on the Televator since it came out of the front of the unit. So I took the plastic cover off the bottom of the unit. I removed the wiring from the notch that's in the lower part of the unit. I cut a new notch using a cutoff wheel at the top of the unit or the back of the unit. I reinserted the wiring and routed the wires to make sure that they didn't hit any moving parts. I also cut a notch in the plastic cover that aligned up with the new location of the wiring. I replaced the plastic cover and I was done. Now the wiring comes out of the back of the unit, and since I have about 1.5 inches clearance between the back of the unit and the wall, that was a non-issue and it worked ideal for me. I'm going to show you what I've been doing as far as building the cabinet here. Just a couple of little quick tips. I don't want to go too much. This is just basically woodworking. I tried to make this elegant yet simple to do. So it's just, you want to make sure everything's straight, that's all. Make your measurements and so forth. One of the things that I did for the top itself, the top piece of wood, is I got a piece of piano hinge here. Now when I lined up this hinge, the hinge goes on the top part so that when the TV opens, it flips like this. If you put it on the bottom, it won't open, obviously. I got a bunch of screws in here. They come with this piano hinge itself. Comes with a bunch of screws, okay? So, and now one of the things that I did was I took an awl, and here's another tip, just to give you a easier way to get the screw centered. You take your awl and you place it right in the center where you're gonna screw the screw and push it in a little bit. Makes a little bit of a guide so that when you do screw your screw, it goes center. If you go too much to one side or another, it probably will line up itself, but you do that too many times and your hinge is going to be wavy and it's going to be stiff. You want that hinge to screw in pretty straight itself. So I already did all my holes for the bottom too, so I basically put the hinge on here, awed it, put the hinge on my bottom part, awed it, put a bunch of holes in it, and I'm just going to screw it in. So it's good to go ahead and just do 3 screws, one at each end, one in the center, And just give it a test and make sure you're in the right spot. And make sure it's gonna work right. So I actually put this whole thing together before I stained it. And I put it in place. And I held it there. I didn't have it screwed in, but I held it there. And I tried the TV elevator to make sure everything would work. And if you're placed someplace where you're living, like for the winter, just leave the TV out. What's the big deal, you know? Okay, so anyways, I'll finish this up in a second. Let me just show you the rest of this thing. So, all I did was I bought basically oak plywood. So the whole plywood is in oak, but the surface, the part that you see is actually oak. Now the only drawback to it is my corners here, my edges, you'll actually see that it's a plywood. But I did a really nice job. I'm going to show you here. I did a really nice job of staining it, and I took the router and did a little round edge. My rounded edge kind of matches a lot of the rounded edges, the motorhome itself. So I tried to get as close to the same kind of stain, although I think I'm a little on the dark side. As a matter of fact, I know I'm on the dark side. So I'm gonna, here, let me flip this up and show you. So it's pretty, as far as the front goes, you have your front piece and your two side pieces. I made the side of, so what you're looking at is nice and flat. The part that I was talking about with the plywood, with the layers that you see, is on the side. So it's actually kind of hard to even see that except for the top of this piece. And even that's not that bad, okay? So I just cut my pieces and then screwed them all from the inside. This stiffener here is going to keep this from bowing when it goes to open it up, okay? It's gonna hit right at the end here, and it's gonna want to bow this up. So you need to stiffen this little. This was 1.25 inches for me. It might be different for you. It depends how deep you make it. If you make it a little deeper, you're okay with taking up a little bit more space. It's gonna work better for you, but then you got to move the TV a little further away from the wall, okay? And that's not the end of the world. So my part where the hinge is attached to it is only 1.25 inches. 1.25 inches. So I really needed this stiffener to keep that from flexing, okay? And then what I'm going to do is from the inside, I'm going to use this to screw it to my wall to help keep it flat to the wall itself. Okay, see that? Pocket hole screws. This is a kit you could buy with the tool, and these are really nice. It comes with everything. With an Allen wrench, tools. Okay, this tool slides together like this, and then comes with a setting. Oh, we can see this. I'm gonna look. So right here, there's a little gray plastic thing, and it moves back and forth. So, and there's little detents that it snaps into place. You can hear it snap, okay? So right there is 3/4 inch. I was basically using 3/4 inch plywood. So you adjust it to 3/4 inch. On my drill, yeah, it's probably kind of hard to see, but there's 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1.5 inch. That's the 3 settings that this has, okay? So that's the size that you're drilling into. So 1.5 inch would be like if you were doing like a 2x4, okay? But I'm using 3/4 inch plywood, so that's the setting. So you basically line this up. There's a little set screw that you tighten, and that's your stop. To make the blind hole, you basically set this up. There you go. On your wood like that. Okay, and you take a C-clamp and clamp it in place so it holds. Now after you C-clamp it, and don't go crazy with the C-clamp, you don't want to mar your wood on the other side, okay? You take your drill and you drill all the way until it stops and pull it out. And don't push too hard. It'll go in. Just go ahead and drill it. And then what you end up with is a nice angled hole, countersunk hole basically. So I'm going to show you up here. So I did it from there. Now obviously this is seen here, but this is going to go against the wall. So you won't even see this. But my screws, I don't know if you can see the screws. Now, anyways, the screws just basically go in like this on an angle. And it makes a nice tight screw. I glue it also, by the way. I kind of double up, I glue and screw just to help with the strength. And what I also did was I made a couple screw holes at the bottom here so I could screw it to my floor. There's no screws in it yet, but I'm just gonna basically reach in there with the TV all the way up, and I'm gonna get these in there. Okay. And you just, oh yeah, it also comes with the long tool here. It's a square drive that goes on your screw gun, and then you would just screw it like that. Okay. I have another stiffener down here, and this is actually more to keep the distance, because after I screwed these back pieces in, it bowled in a little bit. I wanted to make it perfectly square. So this, you might not need that, but it just helps. It also just kind of helps hold it together while you're putting it in place. Yeah, so that's my unit. And I'll show it to you as soon as I get it all put in place. I'll show you how it works and how it looks. But not bad. I mean, I'm not a carpenter, but I play one on YouTube. So before installing the enclosure, you're going to have to install the TV lift. First thing you want to do is you need to cut the carpet away from the floor so that you can bolt the TV lift directly to the floor. The next thing you're going to have to do is provide some kind of support at the upper end of the TV lift. There's little tangs with a hole that you can use a 1/4-inch bolt and bolt it to the wall. However, you do need about 1.5 inch gap so that you get the enclosure over the TV lift, especially if you put a support at the bottom of the enclosure like I did. To do this, you can use what's called a rivet nut. A rivet nut looks just like a rivet, however it has threads in it that you can thread the 1/4-inch bolt right into it. Since the fiberboard wall is thin, this rivet nut gives you some added support when bolting the TV lift to the wall. I just used some spacers I bought at the local hardware store. Originally when I bolted this up, I was a little bit too close to the wall, so I had to add a spacer, and I had to get about 1.5 inches away from the wall itself. After that, I had no problem. So after this is mocked up, you're going to have to remove those spacers and those bolts from the wall so that you can slide the enclosure over the whole lift itself, and then you can reach inside and reattach your bolts. To do this, you have to have the TV removed from the TV lift itself. The next step is you're going to want to run all your wires. You're going to have to bring in an HDMI, or in my case, I used a Cat 5e/Cat 6e to a HDMI converter. I bolted that to the wall, and that needed some power. So I brought in some AC power and I actually installed the AC power box in the wall itself. You can use an extension cord if that works for you. So once I did that, I ran all my cables and so forth, including the antenna, and I was basically all set. I mocked up the TV to the TV lift with my brackets, as you'll see here in a moment, and then I made sure everything worked. Then I removed the TV from the actual swivel itself. It took one bolt to remove the whole TV. Disconnected all the wires and moved the TV aside so I had plenty of room. Of course, you have to have the bolts removed for those spacers, and then I slid the enclosure refrigerator over the TV lift, and I mounted it to the floor. I used the screws as I showed earlier, and I screwed it to the wall. I reinstalled my 2 bolts with the spacers, and then I reinstalled the TV. I ran the wires. The next step was I added some foam to protect the TV when it's in the stowed position. Okay, so as I showed earlier, you know, I have the rounded edges. I cut the carpet pretty nicely around it. I got pretty fortunate. I could put a piece of quarter round down there. At this point, I don't think I'm going to, because I plan on changing my carpet next year. It's nice and dead center with my valance. Okay, so it clears. As you can see, it clears. Look at that. It's about the same on both sides, by the way. So you can see down here, there's a little foam, and I tapered it at the top. Maybe if I add a little light there, that helps. It hits. So look, the TV's pretty stable, and way down in there, you can see the foam right there, dead center. And it curls up a little when the TV hits, so it's squashing it, and that's okay. That's what I want. I want it to squash. Seems to be staying in place. You know, I got all my cables tied up a little bit down there so it doesn't catch the cable that moves. And same thing there, you know. And then here's that little piece that I mounted. I cut it shorter. I bolted it to this thing. I had to bend it a little bit to fit right, but it just touches this. But damn, it works, you know. And then, you know, it's not too bad of a match. My staining was a little off. So I'll move back and you can see the cabinet, but it's so damn close. And if you look at that compared to the refrigerator doors, it's very close to the refrigerator doors. So, and some of the other woodwork in my area here. Okay, so as you can see, you know, here's the compartments in the front of the motorhome. This one being above the driver's seat, you can see down there. That one, used to have a TV a long time ago, is taken out. I'm gonna buy a door, put in front of that. It's gonna swing open from the bottom up. This is where the satellite used to be. I'm not gonna even worry about putting in a satellite at this time, because I got a hotspot that I'm gonna have in there. That hotspot is gonna give me a lot of opportunities to watch TV one way or the other. And then of course I still have my rooftop antenna for local stations, which seems to be working good. And this compartment is gonna be the compartment that I have my DVD player. So I got just a small DVD player. I actually have this set up in such a way it won't fall out because it's Velcroed in. I got these glue tabs on top that the Velcro holds, but I put it on this soft foam. And the reason is because if for some reason you know, I got somebody that's sitting in the seat back there and wants to be watching TV, and you're driving down the road, the bumps are gonna knock that DVD or Blu-ray around. Way back there you can see HDMI, which I'll have this in a link that you can go ahead and order that. So it uses Cat5e to send HDMI to the TV itself. And it also has a second output, so it acts as a splitter as well. So I have an input coming from my DVD player. I send it to my TV, my new location, via Cat5e cabling. That second cable, because I said this is a splitter, so it sends it both places. I have on my dash, sorry about the mess, I have the 10-inch screen. Again, I'll show you the link. This is for viewing if for some reason you got a lot of people in your motorhome and they want to sit in the 2 front seats to watch the movie versus the couch, you know, because it's full. So that player is, you know, for of course watching the movie. And one of the things is you can see I have an 1/8-inch cable there that's going into the back of my radio. But what that gives me is audio where I can really play the sound from the video through the stereo system. And it does work. I tested it all. I get the video in 2 different locations. This is only for viewing when you're not driving. Just a special note, disclaimer, not to be viewed while driving. That is illegal. Okay? That's my system. I neatened it up best I could. You know, I have my cable going through here, my coaxial from the antenna. I have a amplifier on order. The old amplifier was not good, and I ordered a new one, which is coming, and it just plugs in. So I put in a power strip for all my extra power, you know, to power up my devices. So I needed a power for that, and obviously a power for my DVD player, and I'll need one for that amplifier as well. Here's a good spot for the remote for the DVD player. I bought these sticky things, and these work much better for hanging. So I bought a bag of them. I'll put a link for that. It allows you to mount to a surface and then put a wire tie. So if you got a nice flat surface, the only thing I would do is take some rubbing alcohol or some brake clean. And by the way, this is what it looks like right here. So it's got a sticky back. You peel the label and you stick it. You know what I mean? So, and it works good for wire tying. As you can see, I used a few just to keep that cable out of the way. So as you can see, there's the enclosure right there. You have to have the blinds open a little bit. If I take those knobs off, it'll work fine, but I'm okay with raising this ahead of time. Comes with a built-in remote or controller right here. So I have two sets, the stow and the raise. So I'm gonna hit the raise. You gotta hit it twice, one to basically turn it on and the other one to actually activate it. And as you can see, it comes out of there pretty nicely. Opens the door automatically. Okay, and then I could turn my TV on. I obviously have a smart TV, so I can watch TV via internet, or I can actually use my coaxial from the antenna on the roof, or HDMI. You can see here, this is where the TV is at an angle for viewing over by the dining room. So as you can see, it's not the perfect match with the cabinets, but it's pretty damn close. It kind of matches the refrigerator a little bit better. Some other locations around here that has wood. Okay, and of course the door closes by itself too. I have foam blocks on the inside, so when it stows, it sits against some foam to help keep it from bouncing around while you're driving. There you go, closed automatically. That's my nice system. So. Thank you for watching Martin Matrecker's Tips and Tricks. My name is Martin Matrecker. I'm not a professional, but I play one on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this segment of installing a televator, including the enclosure that I built around the televator itself. I showed you a few quick tips to help the installation process, protect the TV, and even running your HDMI through your motorhome using Cat 5e cable. So again, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button and the like button, and we'll see you next time on Martin Matrecker's Tips and Tricks. I don't even think I'm gonna bother with satellite. I don't think I'm gonna bother with satellite because. Alright, thank you for watching Martin Matrecker's Tips and Tricks. My name is Martin Matrecker. I'm not a professional, but I play one on YouTube. I hope you really enjoyed the view of my